Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah wahda, wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'da. Amma ba'd. We started the first hadith from the book Arba'in an-Nawawi. Arba'in an-Nawawi, Imam Nawawi's book. 40 hadith from Imam Nawawi, rahmatullahi alayhi, who is one of the greatest Imam from Shafi'i fiqh. And he compiled this beautiful collection of 40 hadith. So the first hadith is about ikhlasun niyyah. Ikhlas means sincerity, purity of the niyyah. So the hadith goes, innamal a'malu bin niyyat. Indeed, the actions are judged by the intention. So, and we discussed that there has to be good action. The action must be Sharia compliant. You can't take any action and make it good by having good intention. No, first the action must be within the ambit of Sharia, within the boundaries of Sharia. So, for example, if someone is committing haram or makruh or disliked action and say that, but my intention was good. No, you can't do that. I am doing this, but actually I'm doing it with a sincere heart. Not at all. You can't do that. You have to have good action first. And second, then your intention must be only to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So lifetime goal is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because we are created to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. We have not created men and jinn except that they worship us. So we are only here to worship Him. Worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means that following all the do's, carrying out all the do's, and refraining from all the don'ts. So whatever Allah asks us to do, we have to do it. Whether we like it or not, whether we feel like doing or not, in our senses, in our intellectual capacity, we should accept that. With our faith, we should accept that. Now, it may be that we are weak, we are lazy, we have become a bit like overwhelmed by some, thoughts and ideas, we become a bit more remorseful, upset, for whatever reason. And we could not then control ourselves, which is bad, but yet we still know that this is the action I should have done, but unfortunately I couldn't. So as a sinner, I could repent and return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But I can't reject any of that because it doesn't appeal to me, or it doesn't make sense to me, or I think that, that hasn't got anything to do with Sharia. Why is that? Why are we asking that? I don't believe that. I don't think that this is right. We should be able to okay it. If we did it, then we have actually taken Sharia out of our mind and hearts. Means we are not Muslim anymore. We can't be Muslim by rejecting any of the established instructions, injunctions, any of the rules from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So make sure that you understand that. So what is that? Whatever is there from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, no matter how hard you find it, no matter how quote unquote unfair you find it, no matter how strange it appears to you, you still have to accept it as a principle. Now you may argue, why is that? Is it really what Allah wanted us? Is it really what the ayah means? Is it really what the hadith says? That's a different thing. That's a next level of understanding. Trying to question the authenticity of the hadith or understanding the meaning of the hadith or Quranic ayah, that's a different matter. But if you knew, or if someone told you, and you found out that this is the fact, this is what Prophet said, this is what Allah said, then that becomes a binding. Now you may opt for not becoming Muslim, that's a different matter. It's easy for people to decide or not decide about being Muslim. So, la ikraha fi din, we do not force, and no one can force anyone to accept Islam and become Muslim. Not at all. They do it with their free will. But once they have decided it, once they have accepted as themselves as Muslim, then there's no choice about what I'm going to, adopt, what would I leave. This is not the way of a believer. So that we have to have this sense that I am created to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through worshipping Him. Now, how do I know how to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What is this worship means? So you would know just by trying to figure out what are the requirements from me. What is my job description? I've been given this job of being the slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From among all the other creation, I've been taken as the supreme creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the best of the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what does that mean? So yes, I know that I have got this status. I know I've been sent for worship, but what is the job description? What exactly? I want point by point all the things that I needed to do. So the sincerity, or my being sincere in my connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in belief with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, dictate that I should know, or I should try my best to know what is my job description. That everyone has a different job description. People are different and they have different styles of doing things, and they are required to do different things, in different ways. But mostly there is a background, baseline, essential requirement from everyone, and there is some optional ones. As you normally have, these are the essential questions, essential topics, and these are optional ones. They are additional. If you wanted to go for that, you can have some extra points, but they are not the main points. So the main points are these particular ones. So remember that. So we have essentials and we have optionals. So as a Muslim, we must try our best to find out what is required of me. And this is what Sharia is. This is what Islamic teaching is about. So we try to figure out, Ya Allah, guide me to the right path, guide me to what would please you, and give me tawfiq to act upon that. So look at that now. As a man, as a woman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have created us equal. Men and women, they both have been given a set rules that they have to work to come close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and get to the highest level in Jannah. And there is no difference in their being able to achieve the highest station in Jannah. Now, but the role has certain differences, obviously, because men and women are complementary to each other, yet they have certain common and certain different roles. So if men is doing what is essential and obligation and highly expected role from him, and he has done those, he would be successful. Woman, whatever is required of her, and she has done all those essentials in the best way as the man has done, she would be successful and achieve whatever she wants to achieve in Jannah, inshallah ta'ala. Now, if they have both done many optional acts, many optional deeds over and above their essential ones, they would be even higher, because they have done their required tasks, but they have done some extra. So they become elite, they become elect from all the creation, all the rest of the people. So obviously the Sahaba are like that. The great of the Imams and the scholars are like that. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and all the prophets are above that. So these are the best of the people, the Sahabiyah, the female companions, they are all above that. Now, on the flip side, the man has not done his bare minimum required action. His job description is given to him, essential, optional. He just went for optional all the time. He is just interested in all the optional deeds, but has not even fulfilled the basic requirement. What do you think? Is that man successful? No, he is not. Is he? Not at all. Anyone is saying that he would be successful? No. Because whatever he was required of, he hasn't done them. You just take an example. If you are, say, a doctor in the hospital or a nurse in the hospital or a pharmacist there, so you go to see the patients and you're supposed to give them their medicine at a specific time, at the specific times. But what you do, you rather go to the patient, talk to them in the nicest way, make their bed, give them some extra, hug and kiss and just help them out, calm them, comfort them, give the best consultation and consolence and condolence, give the nice advice and, even do some blowing on them with the dhikr and ruqya. And you've done all of that, made their bed, give them food or whatnot. And you were supposed to give them medicine. And that's the bit you left. And you came out. You said, I've spent 20 minutes with this patient, and the patient is actually very happy with me, and I've been doing it for the last whole month. Give me my pay. It's a payday. Can I have my pay? What do you think the hospital managers would say? They say, get out of my sight. You don't deserve even a penny. Why that is? Because what you were supposed to do, you haven't done even for one day. Whatever you were doing was fantastic and superfluous, but additional. It was optional. It was never required of you. That was the job for someone else. Or even you could have done that after you have done your basic required responsibilities, your job, your task. So since you haven't done that, you do not belong here. You get out. Don't even stand in the paycheck list or the line. You're not there. You do not belong here. Now, you can't blame that individual who is rejecting or refusing to give you anything by saying that I actually came every day and I've spent more time with patients than anyone else has done. None of the pharmacists would go to the patient or the nurses would go and spend that much. I've been doing this from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the evening without failing a day, 5 days a week. And here I am not being paid. This is unjust. This is crazy. This is wrong. Not at all. This is exactly what it should be. You could waste your life doing whatever you want to. You can go outside of your house and keep counting the stones on the floor and keep adjusting them and get sweaty and work hard and keep them one on top of other and then change it, and so what? And then you say, oh, the gardener spent 5 hours, but I've spent 8 hours. But I will just, keep adjusting the stones on top of each other. No one asked you to do it. Just your choice. You just wasted your life there. Now, that stone adjustment or designing was just waste of time anyway. It wasn't useful work. But helping the patient was very useful work. Giving, some advice and helping them out, listening to their, stories and giving them some comfort was a good deed, a very good deed actually. You should be rewarded for that. But not if you haven't done the bare minimum, if you haven't done what you were supposed to do. So what does that mean? So men and women, they both need to, mum and dad, sister, daughter, brother, son, likewise neighbor, engineer, doctor, whoever you are, you have to identify and work your way to find out your job description, what is required of you. And if you have done that, mashallah, then this is the third category. So you have done your essentially required task, but you did not carry out anything extra. So the same scenario, this nurse, she spent 20 minutes with each patient and spent 12 hours every day, but never gave them the medicine. But the other nurse only spent 2 minutes with each patient and gave them all the required medicine within the time. And then she comes, so, can I have my pay? What do you think the manager would do? Give them the pay. He's not going to say, why did you not spend any extra hours or minutes with these patients because your colleague has done. So you must have done that. He said, yeah, no, but that wasn't my job description, so I didn't want to do it. I had my own family, I had something else to do. So I didn't go out of my way. I was just carrying out my bare minimum required, essential job. And I carried those out. They said, mashallah, that's good. You would get what you were employed for. And you have done what you're supposed to do. Here is your paycheck. You think it's fair? Yes, it is fair. This is how it should be. So now in the modern world, you would find many people, they're trying to live for their aspirations. They all have their own ideas. I want to be this. I want to be that. I would like to do this. Now they're doing it, and this is a good job. This is a good task that they're carrying out, men and women both. But are they required to do that? Is this their job description? And then can they turn around and say, you know what, I spend my hours in doing this, and I couldn't actually fulfill my obligatory stuff. So unfortunately, I'm sorry, but I did a lot of good deeds. Can I be paid in full? Managers would say, no way. No way. So, am I? So I'm a doctor, you know that, yes? Am I, as a doctor, is that being doctor? Not talking about once I'm doctor, that's not a problem. Once I'm doctor, obviously. But as a human being, was I required to be a doctor? Is it something that I should have done anyway? Like, was it a must that I should be a doctor? Was being a doctor or studying for doctor, spending so many hours every day and, achieving good grades and then inshallah ta'ala going to medicine and then doing my 5 years there and then house job and then specialization and coming here and completing it and becoming consultant respiratory physician and general physician, working in the hospital. Is any of that a requirement from me as a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Anyone think that was the case? Was it essential? No. Jazakallahu khairah. Clearly not. That was not a must. It was not my job description. It was not essentially required of me. That was all optional. What I was required as a future father, so to say, to be able to provide food, clothing, shelter for my family. I could have done whichever way I wanted to. But I opted for that, thinking that I, inshallah ta'ala, would be better off doing that, for whatever reason. So I did that, but that, can I, then on the day of judgment, come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, Ya Allah, since I was so busy doing this, I did not have time to do my essentials. This is a fantastic job. I carried out all my life, looking after all the patients. I was compassionate to them. I was serving them. I was going out of my way, and I did so many things. Many people got cured, alhamdulillah. So have I actually done enough to satisfy Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to say, yes, unfortunately I couldn't pray. Unfortunately I couldn't do any religious studies. Unfortunately I didn't have time to fast because I was in hospital all the time and I couldn't perform my hajj. I was looking after this and I was doing that. Do you think, am I justified in that as a doctor? Anybody think that I'm justified for not praying because I was preparing for my exams and 11 plus from there to GCSEs to A-levels to all those exams? It's a tough time, isn't it? No, not at all. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would say that was your choice. You could have opted for something simpler if that was too much for you to look after your essential tasks. If you couldn't do your tasks, unfortunately, you have not done what you were supposed to do. Does it make sense? Do we understand that, yeah? So that is what sincerity dictates, that I first find out what is my job description. And my job description is to be a practicing Muslim, learn the basic knowledge, act upon that, and if I get into this business of either treating patients or having a corner shop or a restaurant or engineering firm or something else as a teacher, that I should look after those avenues as well to find out that what is easier and the best for me within my circumstances to be able to earn enough to have my family and myself satisfied, happy, comfortable. And if something would affect me and dictate me to leave any of my obligatory stuff, then I have to switch to something different. I have to move on to do something else rather than putting my obligatory stuff, essential stuff in jeopardy. So this is what we need to learn and understand. Now, those who do not understand, they make mistakes. And they need to come to sincerity and think about what are the actions am I required? What actions am I required of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as essential, and slowly build upon that. Okay? So your task for the next week is to think about it, think about all of that, and try to figure out
people who are coming from the classes,
what is the best.
Don't make noise in the masjid.
So
Who have done the
think about that, inshallah ta'ala, and see whether you are doing the obligatory stuff or you are more wasting your time or spending your time more on something which is superfluous. Okay, we catch up next week, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum.